Hey guys, I'm taking a quick little break this week on the digital marketing topic, and I'm going to transition into my Meet the Attorney series. As you know, every now and then I like to introduce attorneys to you because that is the niche I play in mostly. I help a lot of attorneys in the continental US with digital marketing. But let's set that aside. I just want you to meet these guys and see what they're all about. And today, I am going to introduce you to one of New Jersey's finest attorneys. He's actually a personal injury attorney, and he is going to enlighten us with what he does and how he helps people throughout this great state of New Jersey. So without further ado, enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are not getting the results you are looking for from your digital marketing efforts, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, everyone. I hope you guys are having a rockin' week thus far. Today, in continuation to my Meet the Lawyer series, I have a treat for you. As I said in the pre-intro, I have one of New Jersey's best attorneys to ever walk this great state. And I want to introduce you to him today. His name is Frank Lazzaro. How you doing, Frank?
I'm wonderful, especially after that introduction.
Hey, it's the truth, man. I've been doing my research on you, my man. So everything, all the accolades are true there. But anywho, I already introduced my audience to you already in the pre-intro. However, in your own words, who is Frank Lazzaro? Who are you and what do you do?
I'm a New Jersey guy, born and bred. I grew up in Edison. I did my undergrad at Rutgers, went to law school in New York law. After that, I decided I want to come back to New Jersey. So I did a clerkship for a judge in the Superior Court of Middlesex County, where we oversaw probably the busiest, definitely the busiest medical malpractice docket in the state, which got me into personal injury generally. So after that ended, after my year there, I went to a large firm where I worked for the General Liability and Insurance Defense Department, which is essentially the opposite of what I do now. And then in 2009, I moved over to my firm, which is Lutz, Shafranski, Gorman Mahoney, where we specialize and have always specialized in plaintiff's personal injury work and workers' compensation work. It's a firm that's been open for over 40 years with a very good reputation. I say that even when I was doing defense work, they were one of the most reputable firms out there for this type of work, and the rest is history.
So does your firm only focus on personal injury, or is that just your gig?
Our firm focuses predominantly on personal injury and workers' compensation. If I had to estimate what my caseload is, I would say probably 85% personal injury work and 15% workers' compensation work. Now, along with that, there's ancillary legal work that comes with it. There's a type of work called PIP arbitration. PIP is short for personal injury protection coverage that you see in automobile insurance policies. Now, in short, and without getting too boring, these are the claims that are made when a physician treats somebody who sustains injuries from a motor vehicle crash and there's an issue over an outstanding bill. So basically, our rules in this state and in many other states have set up a forum where rather than have these cases go to trial process and through the normal law division, what they do is they get arbitrated. So I'll do some of that. We do have a gentleman in the office that does some municipal court work that deals with run the mill, like auto violations, that type of stuff, speeding, that type of stuff. But I haven't done that stuff in many years. It's predominantly a personal injury and workers' compensation.
Awesome. And within the research I've done about you, Frank, I have to say you're like the Muhammad Ali of personal injury attorneys. I really, I mean, I read up on you, and it's a lot of good stuff. It's awesome. I mean, it's awesome what you do. Now, personal injury is something personal to me as well, because I don't know if you knew this, but I have a few PIs, if you will, that I do marketing for in the DC area. So it's a very interesting field for me. But most of the cases that I have are not around car accidents. It's so funny. Most of the cases that people do is stuff like they slip and fall. They slipped in their friend's house, or or maybe even a dog bite. Are those cases harder to defend than car injuries?
I think it all depends on the facts of the case. In all the years I've been doing this, and the literally thousands of cases that I've handled, I've yet to come across the perfect case. There's always going to be wrinkles in terms of establishing liability or damages in every case. So whether the case is a motor vehicle crash case, a trucking collision case, wrongful death, dog bite, premises liability, such as you mentioned, trip and fall, slip and fall. There are challenges that come along with each and every one of those types of cases. So it's really dependent on the case itself.
Yeah. It's so funny, but I the firm that we do it for down in DC, those are most of the cases. I mean, you get like one or two car accidents, but most of it's just like slip and fall. Especially this time of year, they clean up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously that's going to come with the weather. I would say that is with respect to most personal injury firms, I would say that's uncommon. I would guess, if I had to speak to most other attorneys that do what I do, they would estimate that the brunt of their personal injury caseload comes from motor vehicle crash cases, unless they've specifically chosen to steer clear of that field.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe that's the case with them.
Could be.
Ask them. Yeah, I gotta ask them. Hey, is there out of curiosity, is there anything that's not a good case for you? I mean, is there any case that you steer away from?
Well, my job, not to get too philosophic, is to handle cases wherein somebody is harmed in some way as a result of the negligence or wrongful conduct of somebody else. And it's my job, quite simply, to obtain the maximum possible financial recovery for that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that encompasses a lot. What I could tell you is not a good case is a case where I can, as I'm doing the intake, intake meaning I'm interviewing the client for the first time. And I'm doing this almost with my eyes as a defense attorney, again, and looking to see what the holes are in the case. Because as I stated, there literally, in all the years I've been doing this, I have yet to come across the perfect case. Every case has potential problems. But if I'm listening to the recitation of the facts, and there are serious questions as to whether or not a person can establish liability, both on a factual basis, or if there's some legal issue that prevents them from doing that, or on the same rate in terms of their injuries, whatever they be, economic or non-economic damages, that will not be a good case. So it's hard to say, here's a specific example of what's not a good case. It's very case sensitive, and it requires me assessing the facts when I first meet the client, and saying to myself, if I needed to try this case, could I win this case? And if I say no from the inception, that's a bad sign. I probably would steer clear of that case and explain to the client why.
Oh, okay. Well, that's awesome. So that's good to know. Another thing, as I was doing my research on you, Frank, on the internet, I noticed that there are a ton of personal injury attorneys in the state of New Jersey. What separates you? I'm going to put you on the spot here for a minute. What separates you from the pack?
Well, without now you're forcing me to do something I don't want to do, which is be braggadocious. But I would say, without sounding too corny, the people's biggest complaint about their attorneys are that they do not maintain good levels of communication and they don't get back to them. I can tell you, if you speak to any one of my clients, they will either, if they call me and I can't speak to them right away, they will get a call back that night or the following day at the latest. I've spoken to people while I'm on vacation. Okay. And that, I think clients really appreciate that because they're coming to you because they have real issues. So to be left in the lurch and hanging is not a good feeling. And I've had people come to me looking for me to take over their case because we have these issues. And I always try to fix it and resolve any issues that exist between their attorney and themselves. But that, I think, is, in terms of an interpersonal relationship, that is, I think, the biggest separator. In terms of some of my accomplishments, I'm a certified civil trial attorney. That's a certification that's coming from the Supreme Court of this state. So you need to show a certain level of success and pass a written examination to get that certification. In this state, I believe the statistics are only 2 to 3% of the attorneys in the state are certified civil trial attorneys, and I'm one of them. So I would say that separates us. There's also a service called AV. There's also a legal medium that's respected called Martindale Hubbell that rates their attorneys. And I have the AV rates attorneys in general, I should say, and I have the AV-Preeminent Rating, which is the highest rating that you can get in terms of legal talent and ethical standards. And these are this is a source that's coming up with their ratings based on peer reviews. So these are recommendations or they're touching base with some of my colleagues, people that I've worked against, and judges before whom I've appeared. So I'm very proud of that. There's also Superlawyers magazine, where I've been featured for the last 10 years as both a rising star and a super lawyer, just among some of the accolades. And if you do a little bit of research, you'll note that basically every single year, myself and my firm have jury verdicts and settlements among the top in the state. So I think that that's the body of work that separates myself and my firm from many of these other attorneys.
Wow, it's outstanding, man. Those are the accolades that I saw online. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of put you on the spot because I know you're a very humble guy, and I figured I'd get you a little uncomfortable.
A little uncomfortable. Listen, there's the reality. Listen, look, we all want to do well for our business, for our clients, but it is a business. So I don't want to be unrealistic and say I don't want people's business. Obviously, I do want people's business, but I don't want to try to make myself seem superior to any other attorney. There's a lot of great attorneys out there, and unfortunately, some that are not so great. So what I could tell you is, for anyone who steps foot in my office and deals with me directly, they're not going to be disappointed.
Awesome. I'm going to give you a little testimony here, and just as a testimony as to what you said, being high touch. I could recall, unfortunately, this didn't work out, but I could recall I referred you to someone and the person wasn't coming back, wasn't getting back to you. You reached out to me to find out, hey, what is going on? That's unheard of. So that's definitely a testimony to what, your high touch practices. So that's what I just want to let the world know about that. So Frank, tell me something. This is, that's really all I had today, but I am going to leave the show in the show notes. I'm going to leave all of your contact information, your LinkedIn, etc., in there. So if anyone needs to get a hold of you, but I had got 2 questions for you. Is it only in New Jersey that you practice?
Yes. I did go to school in New York, but I'm only licensed to practice in New Jersey. Candidly, it'd be nice to practice on other states. I'm just too busy. I can't.
Yeah, well, too busy is a good thing, and that's why I'm really, really thankful for you to come, because I know you're a very busy guy, and this is really an honor to have you on the show. Last question: is there anything I did not ask you that you think will benefit the audience?
It's hard to say. I mean, in terms of my personal accolades, you did a good job of really touting my horn. So I appreciate that. What I would say is, generally with what we do, the one misconception I think that people have is that they almost feel bad at times about filing a personal injury case. I've had people come to me and say something to the effect, well, we're not the suing type, or that they almost feel uncomfortable about it. And I just scratch my head, and it doesn't make any sense to me. And, without demonizing the insurance industry, but I'm going to a little bit because I've worked for them and I know what their tactics are. I think that there's been a strong propaganda campaign over the last 30 or 40 years to make people feel this way, almost as if the claims that they're bringing are of no merit and frankly fraudulent. And I could tell you from having done this on both sides that could not be further from the truth. And I can tell you specifically because when I am interviewing somebody, I am always on the lookout for somebody who I don't think is being genuine or maybe is fraudulent. I could tell, and that almost never ever happens. These cases, in order for us, first off, number one, you as the attorney can be personally sanctioned if you bring a case that is frivolous. Number one. So that's something that not a lot of people know. But if I am bringing something that just frankly is complete baloney and unsupported by fact or law, I'm going to be personally sanctioned. So it's not to the effect that anyone suggests to you that a personal injury case is fraudulent. I mean, that's just nonsense. Okay. The other thing is this, we're not the suing type. That makes no sense to me because you are bringing one of these claims because through no fault of your own, you were caused some harm or loss. In other words, your health was taken away from you in some fashion.
Yeah.
Or your ability to generate income through your employment, business, whatever was affected because now you sustain injuries that prevent you from doing your job. So why would you not bring a claim to recover for those losses? It makes no sense. And when you do that, all you're doing is enriching some insurance company that, believe me, doesn't need your money. They do not need your money. So I just find it, it's one of the things that I find so frustrating when I hear that. And when I try the cases, the one important thing that I think separates myself and a lot of attorneys from others is we're trial attorneys. Okay. Yeah. So when we're picking juries, one of the things, the initial process when we're interviewing potential jurors is called voir dire. And this is when we get a sense of, or we try to get a sense of who our potential jurors are, so we could put together a jury of fair and impartial people. And some of the questions that we ask are about this topic. In other words, do you believe in tort reform, or do you have any biases against people simply because they bring a lawsuit? And they say stuff like this, which I can tell is grounded more. I don't want to be nasty, but it's grounded more in ignorance about the process than anything else. Because when I'm bringing one of these cases, when I'm preparing for a trial, my goal is to be the most reasonable guy in the room. And I tell the jury from the outset, as objective as I can, this is what is going to be proven in this case. Okay. And if for whatever reason, I'll get the sense when I'm trying a case at the beginning, everybody's going to be skeptical about myself, my client. And as these cases progress, whether it's a short trial or a long trial, and we start to hit on point 1, point 2, point 3. And by the way, when we're conceding any difficulty or wrinkle that we have in the case, you establish that credibility and you overcome any of those biases that people have. So it just frustrates me that people have these misconceptions about what it is that we do. And frankly, the portions of the plaintiff's bar don't help us. When they're bombarded by commercials every 3 seconds about, I got millions of dollars because this is what happened. I think that leaves a bad taste in people's mouths about what it is that we do. It's our objective to get people fair and reasonable recoveries for their harms and losses. No more, no less. And by the way, that's the law. Okay. You are entitled to recover fully for your losses. No more than what you deserve and no less than what you deserve.
Wow. That's awesome. Man, I'm really glad I asked you that question. I feel the passion come through. I'm sure the audience felt the passion. This is why he is the Muhammad Ali of personal injury, because he cares more about you than he does, the insurance companies, which is what we got, which is what we got to do, and that's important. That's why he cares about winning your case. So that was awesome. I will put all of your information in the show notes. Thanks a lot for coming. I am going to bid farewell to this episode. Next week, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming. I'm going to teach you all about marketing, but I'm glad that you had the time to hear Frank Lazzaro. If there's any issues that you ever have in terms of any kind of personal injury and you're here in the great state of New Jersey, look him up. Just look at all the stuff on the links that I have in the show note there. So with that, this has been Frank Deming, the local business guy, and you've just been blessed by the great Frank Lazzaro. Take care, everyone. Until next week. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. Don't forget, any links that were mentioned during the broadcast will be available to you in the show notes, so be sure to grab them while you have the chance. Incidentally, if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss on the show, be sure to send an email to the email provided in the show notes, or click the Contact Us link and let us know what topic you would like us to help you with, and we'll be sure to add it to our schedule. If you would like for Frank and his team to look at your digital marketing presence and give you a free evaluation, simply click the Request a Free Consultation link in the show notes to get a hold of them. That being said, until our next episode, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.